All right, welcome. Today we're going to break down a piece of wisdom that is honestly so simple but so incredibly helpful for dealing with, well, pretty much everyone. We're going to look at 3 basic truths about people that might just change how you see things.
I mean, you've been there, right? You think you have someone totally figured out, and then, bam, they do something that makes absolutely no sense. It can be maddening. But what if the secret isn't about solving every person like a puzzle, but about grabbing on to a few core ideas that apply to all of us?
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about this idea of the quest for perfection. Then, we're going to get real about the slow pace of change, which, let's be honest, drives us all crazy sometimes. And finally, we'll look at what it really means to be walking in their shoes. Then we'll wrap it all up with 3 key truths you can take with you.
So, first things first, let's tackle one of the biggest reasons we get disappointed in our relationships, this hunt for the perfect person. Our source calls this the principle of imperfection.
It sounds so simple it's almost silly to say it out loud, right? People are not perfect. But how often do we actually act like we believe that? We put these crazy high expectations on our friends, our family, our partners, and on ourselves. This little sentence is just a huge reminder to get our feet back on the ground.
And when you really let that sink in, it's so freeing. Instead of this endless, exhausting search for someone without flaws, you can put that energy into appreciating the good and even the quirky in the wonderfully imperfect people who are right in front of you.
Accepting that people aren't perfect is step 1. And that leads us right into our second big idea, which hits another one of our biggest frustrations, wanting someone to change like yesterday.
Oh man, we have all been there, wishing someone would just snap out of a bad habit or suddenly develop a good one. But real, meaningful change almost never works like that. It's not a lightning strike. This quote really forces us to throw out our desire for a quick fix and just take a breath.
And what's so cool about this idea is how it reframes everything. It's not that people are incapable of changing, not at all. It's just that change is a journey. It's a process. And that process needs the right ingredients for it to even get started. So what are those ingredients? Well, according to our source, it really boils down to 2 simple but absolutely critical things. First, time. You can't rush it. Real change needs room to breathe and unfold. And second, help. Almost nobody makes a huge life change all by themselves. That support, whether it's a bit of advice or just a shoulder to lean on, is so often the spark that makes it all possible.
And that idea of help brings us perfectly to our third and final principle. And honestly, this is the one that really ties the other 2 together. It's the key that unlocks a whole other level of connection: empathy.
It's an old saying because it's true. You can understand so much more about people when you walk in their shoes. The power in that phrase is the action. It's not about just feeling bad for someone. It's about making a real effort to see the world from their perspective.
Why is someone acting that way? Why are they stuck? Why are they imperfect in that specific way? So many of those questions start to make sense when we stop judging from our own viewpoint and try, just for a second, to feel what it's like to be them.
So this really becomes the question we need to ask ourselves. Before we react, before we get frustrated, just pause and wonder, what path did they walk to get to this exact moment? What has their journey been like? What does the world actually look like from over there?
Okay, so we've covered some big ideas here. Let's pull it all together. How do we take these principles and turn them into something we can actually use every single day?
It's right here. It's your new guide. Number 1, accept imperfection. In them, and just as importantly, in yourself. Number 2, practice patience. Remember that real change takes time and support. And number 3, cultivate empathy. Make an active effort to see things from their side. And please, remember this isn't just some nice, fluffy philosophy. Think of these as actual practical tools for your relationship toolkit. They are tools that can help you dial down conflict, build way stronger connections, and just generally have a kinder, more understanding view of the people around you.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. As you go on with your day-to-day, just ask yourself, which one of these 3 truths, accepting imperfection, practicing patience, or cultivating empathy, do you need to focus on the most right now? The answer might just change the very next conversation you have.